Okay, so I've done a lot of preparation for this reading already. I've cleared the space, centered myself, grounded myself, and used various props to bring myself into the space. I like to use flowers, this clairvoyant oil, use a bell. And I sat in meditation and collected some direction for this reading, as well as pulling some cards from the Archetypes deck by Kim Kranz, the She-Wolf Tarot deck, and I've also done a random open to a book, The Luminaries, and to the Mythology Bible as well. So I'm just going to put all this together. So in my meditation, I began with the sunset over an ocean. There's a boat on the ocean, we're traveling, and then we're traveling to the underworld, and then it's night. We're going deep water. There's a shine from the moon and an essence in the water. There's layers, creatures even. We feel solid, supple, subtle, shift. So something significant, solid. It's supple. It's a solid and soft, subtle shift. There's then lightning, connecting the ground to the heaven, from below to above. It's illumination, bright to dark, bright, snap to crackle. We glimpse, what is it? What are we seeing when there's this brief, highly bright, illuminating lightning strike? Then what came through was feathers, shedding feathers, waterproof. And when I think of that, I think of this coat, and I think of preparation, I think of protection. Birds of a feather, we're all in this flock kind of as a protection. And then I'm thinking of honesty, and the truth hurts, but we're looking for connection, and in order to get that connection, it's about going through that painful experience. Inner growth, it's transformation. Can we sit with it? Can we be in the ache, and can we work out how to transmute that ache, how to turn it into resilience, how to blossom and bloom and grow? And then I shuffled and cleansed the deck, the Archetypes deck, and I requested a card for where we've been and a card for where we're going. And I got the empty room as where we've been and the shaman as where we're going. So that empty room, I will read from the guidebook. From my understanding, the empty room is the vacancy. It's the openness. It's the possibility of what can come through when we drop everything out, drop expectation, dropping any preconceptions, and allowing that space, which is potentially scary and alone, scary and lonely, to bring through, like, there's space for development there. So the empty room, 147. Let's have a read. There's some nice motor tools going on in the background. I wonder how long that'll go on for. The empty room. It's loud enough for my cat to run inside. That's a little bit annoying. I think it's a car, so I think it's gonna leave. All right, well, or it stopped. The empty room, the vortex, the abyss, and a plane. Thank you. The empty room, the vortex, the abyss, the nothing. The empty room haunts us all. It is universal and all too frequent feeling of lack, of wanting, of the craving to fill ourselves with something, anything. We too often attempt to remedy the discomfort of the empty room by any means necessary, leading us to a culture of more. Ironically, the empty room is filled to the brim with potential, yet we perceive it is not enough. This card is a cry for patience, for sitting within the barren walls of not knowing, for awaiting true vision and purpose before attaching to what we should do next to save our outward appearance. Be with the nothingness, be with the impatience. The empty room has immense power. Let others wonder what you are doing. If you can settle into the magic of emptiness, you will soon hear its whispers of wisdom. Spaciousness, potential, and possibility. When it's in a detriment or a darker aspect, we're looking at addiction or insatiability, more for more's sake. A day of silence is a surefire way to harness the power of the empty room. The archetype of the empty room is also portrayed as the hungry ghost, always feeding and never satiated. The hungry ghost. That's interesting. So that's where we've been. Maybe there's, that trying to fill the space, trying to fill the void. And it's about learning to sit in the void and await the right time for the inspiration to come, for the purpose to appear, for true vision. And that's individuality. That's when real creative inspiration strikes intermittently. It's not necessarily, like, for some, and you can practice, and a lot of people with creative lives, I guess, or creative characters, in some ways are constantly creating, but true inspiration is periodic, and it can't necessarily be forced. So let's take a look at the shaman as where we're going. The shaman 93. The magi, the sorcerer, the medicine woman. 3 archetypal ingredients constitute the shaman, and all must be present in order to reveal its magic. First, the shaman is activated by long-standing and diligent study with a mentor. Second, its orientation is generously and accurately aimed toward the healing of the self, the other, and their culture, the healer. And the third, the shaman has a knack for finding doorways to the other world, allowing psychic visions and old magic to leak into this world. In this way, the shaman is a master who bridges the everyday and the sacred, revealing potent power needed desperately in our time. Yet where there is power, there is shadow. So the shaman must be vigilant in studying their darkness. This card reminds us that the force of healing is ultimately not our own. We must shape it and share it with the world. When in light, fearless student and practitioner. When in dark, overpromises, blames, hurts self and others. Contrary to popular belief, the shaman archetype appears in every vocation. Teachers, directors, surgeons, politicians, and poets are just a few of the faces that the shaman may wear. The shaman can't be rushed. Working with this archetype requires study and perseverance. Think of it like brining or marinating. The content must permeate every fiber of the being. So let me know if this is resonating for you. Let me know what comes up. And how you feel about stepping into that role of the shaman and finding adequate mentorship. I know for myself, I've had several, I guess you can say, short-term mentors, short-term meaning a couple of years, for each different mentor. Sometimes those mentors have looked like my boss, so, like, on occasion, not every time. I have had a lot of bad bosses, but I've had a couple of really nice executive type or managerial people who I have deeply respected, chief executives, mainly quite senior people who I truly have felt inspired by and mentored by. I've also had a mentor in the reclaiming witchcraft scene, although I don't specifically practice witchcraft per se, but again, it was an opening and part of a priestess initiation, to understand how to hold ritual ethically and responsibly, and considerately, and then also, of course, understanding and adapting to the elements and to the principles of welcoming the elements, as well as the goddesses, and various practices as well for inquiry. Also through human design. So I've been a human design analyst, not approved by the International Human Design School. I've been one of the outlaw kind of rebel versions. I'm having a phone call. Great. I should probably answer the phone. I'll be back in a second. Okay, I took my phone call, and I've also just tried to move back so that I don't have that sun in my face. So I was talking about my human design training. So I had a mentor through human design, Leanne Wolf, for a couple of years. So perhaps this is talking about, you know, finding new mentorship. Also, I've been doing interior design, so I have mentors in the interior design courses that I'm doing. So again, it's another sort of 3-year initiate, if you like. It's study and training, but we also have mentors within that. So reflecting on who your mentors have been, maybe where your training has been, and do you need to look at more training, or, you know, identifying what that training has been to help move you into that space of the shaman, because the shaman has a big responsibility to keep their energy clean. It is that mention of, you know, the medicine woman has their flaws. It brings the darkness up. You really have to search and purify your whole being. You have to know yourself so deeply and like bring awareness and bring light into those spaces. And it doesn't always hold in the light, even if you've gone deep and you've grown into that, and you think you've done the work. We're still humans, and we all return through that non-linear spiral of time. There will always be a revision on a sore spot or a painful part or triggering wounds, and you get to re-experience it and see how you deal with it. And hopefully each time you go around, it gets a little bit better, a little bit easier. So these supporting cards that I pulled from the She-Wolf tarot deck, we got the Page of Cups and the 6 of Pentacles. 6 of Pentacles being a lot about reciprocity, Libran energy. What we put in, we get out, that system of payment, and, you know, really looking for balance in that essence. How are things balancing? And the Page of Cups, which is a beautiful card of compassion and care. The page, nature, I always see the page as still being a little bit inconsistent with the way that it shows up, because the page really desires to, you know, move into that king space, or the knight space, and then the king, and then the king space. But we're not there yet. So you know, there's sometimes there's offers and failed offers, if that makes sense. A little spider is now running over the cards, and that's quite cute. So I'm just going to read again from the 6 of Pentacles in the book here. Moon in Taurus, gain, abundance, overcoming, success, and fertility. We have overcome the dissonance of the 5 of Pentacles and have recreated a sense of balance and symmetry. There is now discernible wisdom in our pocket after a good deal of loss. We now understand that loss is not the be-all, end-all. Things change all the time. Pieces are reconfigured or missing altogether. But it doesn't mean that the machine stops working. Bones will knit, flesh will heal, hearts will mend. When we receive this card, we're being asked to be generous with what we've learned and use our energies to create the betterment of all people and places we come across. I am full of potential, flexibility, and healing energy. Then let's look at the Page of Cups as well. Where's the cups? The page is the Venus. Inner self, strength, beginnings, exploration, and sensitivity. When we protect ourselves in balance, again, balance, we provide a safe space for intuition, gut instinct, sensitivity, love, and self-exploration to grow fertile. This provides a wonderful foundation for us to feel through ourselves, gain inner strength, and be able to say no wherever necessary. It also gives us the confidence to say yes too, when we see the Page of Cups as our love protector, one who nurtures and cares for all matters of the heart. She comes to us when we need a safe space to grow our inner garden. And inner growth was one of the key terms that I had there in the meditation, inner growth, and that safety. So the Page of Cups is as the love protector, as a cosmic shield. I house what is sacred in myself, and I give it only to those who deserve it. So definitely both of these leaning into reciprocity, yes and no, what we give out, what we put out, what we take back, and that protection for inner growth and transformation. So we're transforming from that empty room, from that space of trying to fill, overcompensate, push, you know, really feeling the lack of that empty room. And we're moving now into the shaman, where the shaman understands that that empty room provides a bag, is like the cosmic bag of opportunity and resources, where that emptiness is anything. That emptiness is every possibility. And I used this old book, The Luminaries by Liz Green and Howard Susportis. And I randomly opened up to a page, which happened to be 137. The Luminaries, talking about the sun. Now, this is a pretty old book, and it was talking about the transits. What is this sound? The transits in 84, 98, 88, 91. There was some changes with Neptune and Capricorn around that time. So Neptune is the first thing that's mentioned. Neptune in Capricorn. And also Saturn coming along, Saturn and Capricorn. And it was all about fathering and the father archetype. And then it came into explaining how Leo and Capricorn are both associated with the hero father archetype. What else does it say here? I'm sort of paraphrasing the things that are in here. But it was about, you know, the aspects of male parenting. So what are those father issues? If you have Leo and Capricorn as prominent aspects, or Leos or Capricorns in your life, and, you know, that relationship with the father. It also does mention the relationship between Cancer and the mother. So any prominent Cancer placements relating to issues with the mother as well. So looking at mother-father archetypes, and Leo, Capricorn, possibly Cancer influences, which has a lot to do with home. Leo, very highly creative. Cancer's all about home, and the moon, illumination. We've got the moon and the sun in there with Leo and Cancer, and Capricorn is that grounding, methodical, you know, slow climbing, stubborn essence. So wherever those aspects or planets are potentially in your chart, you know, that could be some relationship there. I also took the mythology Bible, and I opened to page 156, 157, history and background of tribal Africa and Oceania. So this actually includes Australasia rather, and it talks about the needing to uphold culture and assert culture through record of the traditional aspects, through ritual, painting on bark and skin, and reinforcing the messaging, the ritual, the stories of the dream time in Australia. And for Africa, it was, you know, how the mythology is scattered and fragmented through all of the different villages, and a lot of tribes are geographically isolated. So folklore and myth is how culture was really maintained. So, you know, the message here that I'm seeing is about reinforcing beliefs, recording our history, remembering what has been passed down through tradition and through various cultures, and the importance of retaining that information and retaining that. So that leans to me quite in with the shaman idea. And, you know, this mention of the mother and the father and those male-female parenting is particularly on the male side, because there's more emphasis on the Leo and Capricorn energy there. So it's what is the father or the mother passing down through the lineage, through the genes, through our traditions? What are we being taught? Where is that inner growth developing? What we may need to maintain, what we need to hold on to, and what we need to transform through or transmute from. And this could be related to connection, because we're talking about that lightning strike, ground to heaven, what is illuminated. So how is what has hurt us? Where is honesty and hurt and pain and triggers cracking open and illuminating the essence of something deep and emotional, this underworld image? What does it illuminate, which we can then shed the feathers? How can we connect with others in their similar like experiences? And how do we find connection and inner growth and transformation? You know, leaning into, or leaving behind rather, this empty room lack sensation, leaning into the possibilities, and then growing into this shamanic essence. Let's have a quick look at venom. From my memory, where's the book? From my memory, the venom is, it's the spicy meatball. It's the, you know, it's our shadow aspect. It's the things we say which cut deep. It's vitriol. Venom, 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 venom. Is it in the tools? Venom 191. The poison, the curse, the toxin. Much to our dismay, the venom is always lurking in the shadows in one form or another. Its toxic presence may be found in our relationships through speech or environment. Thankfully, the cycle of purification and detoxification comes so naturally that it is built into our every exhale. We breathe out carbon dioxide and the plants return it to us as oxygen. Archetypal venom is rarely remedied as easily, however, and it can come in potent forms and quantities that are deeply damaging to us and to the world. When the venom card appears, there is a harmful substance in our psychic realm that must be identified. Perhaps your words have a sting of poison about them. Perhaps a relationship is slowly draining your reserves. Acknowledgement is the first step. Change is the second. The remedy will reveal itself in time, and with it, forgiveness. Self-realization through suffering, or an unwillingness to find a solution or to forgive. When you harm another, you harm yourself. Keep in mind this goes for our earth as well, with cosmic consequences. The spreading of the venom is like a chain reaction. When we strike others, it is likely we have ourselves been struck. Break the cycle. So when we come into that understanding of all are one, go see my girl Bonnie's new YouTube channel and Patreon, all under the banner All Are One. She's got wonderful offerings there with talking about mixed healing modalities and all of the different tools that are available and can be used, as well as her own personal journey. And she's a manifester and a hugely creative, beautiful, kind and caring, wonderful creature. So Bonnie, go check out All Are One. But when we realize like that is such a core, basic understanding of the world, that when we cast blame or we point a finger at something external as being to blame outside of ourselves without first turning in to understand what our part of this process is. How are we manipulating, manifesting? What is that true state of energy which we are vibrating out? It's not about being a sucker or copping punishment, but it is more about attuning to what are those sub layers of what we are unconsciously perhaps putting out into the world, and really taking responsibility for that. And that comes with deep self inquiry and awareness and courage to be honest, to tell the truth, to reflect on ourselves. And that's where the truth hurts. It's gonna hurt. But if you don't go through feeling that hurt, or rather, not if you don't go through it, when you go through healing or experiencing that hurt, we are learning how to transmute that energy, and to look for that protective quality. And when we give freely and share generously. We are really sharing from a full cup that we have nourished and nurtured within ourselves, because we've gotten to the bottom of those pains and traumas and hurts and heartaches. When you really sit with those and you understand like how serious it feels to feel distant from love, to feel separated from love, from cosmic love, and all we want to do is return back to that feeling of cosmic love. But we're here in this construct experiencing life in an earth realm, in a material realm of limitation. And you know, where there are significant challenges in how we show up and how we respond to this world, we have significant potential for gain. And that's what that shamanic experience really is. You know, the shaman is not free from hurt. The shaman knows how to wield the hurt, not as a venomous spike, not as some toxin or poison which is set to destroy that which it loves. So there's a deep healing, there's a deep transformation occurring as we speak. For anyone here enjoying this reading, hopefully, or if this resonates, I would really love to hear from you. Now, I'm going to pull a final little card from this Chat Blanc, White Cat's Tarot, Chat Blanc. These are so sweet. Sometimes if I'm really feeling very sad, these cards are the best, because it's like even the heartbreak cards are like, aww, it's a white cat. Where's my white cat? He's out here in the garden. Oh no, he's literally sitting at the door. What a beautiful boy. Look at you, darling. What a good little boy. I like to come out to the garden and he walks around or sits in his favorite spot. But I think all the noises have been disturbing. Oh, I wasn't looking and a couple had fallen out. So we have the Seven of Wands and we have the Chariot. So the Seven of Wands is that battle, but it is that high ground. It's that standing up for your own convictions. So really sticking to what it is that, how you want to show up, the things that you want to do, really owning that. And you know, it's winning the battle. You've got the higher ground, you've got the upper ground. And the Chariot, which we're aligning that dark and light, we're aligning those aspects which pull us in either direction, and we're looking for that the mystical mechanic which is put together. There's an element of trust that the Chariot will hold you, trust that the Chariot will be held together through the skill of the mechanic, and it won't fall apart at the last minute because it's rattling and it's pulling, and all we have to do is, like, you know, charge forward or jump this chasm. And what comes through with the Chariot is moment of clarity. So it does feed back into that lightning strike, connecting the ground to the heaven, and that illumination, because it's really, the Chariot operates, and it's a moment of divine perfection when the aspects are pulling in all directions and you manage to get one moment of clear alignment, which moves you forward. And so we're moving forward with this transformation by taking the upper ground and committing to those actions, because it is Wands energy, so that fire action energy. So those things that compel us by standing by your values and commitments, and what was that word? Convictions. Taking the upper ground and holding strong is helping that Chariot come into alignment. Okay, if you would like to access a personal reading, if you would like human design reading, I don't talk too much about interior design on this channel, but interior design is something that I'm studying for at the moment, and we'll be moving into, I guess eventually, I'm doing energy clearings, I do space sort of consultation, spatial planning, material concepts, like everything that interior design entails, though I also do energy clearing. So when I do assessments in a space, I'm looking at, I'm not feng shui qualified, but and maybe this speaks to, you know, the traditions that from the page that we looked at in the mythology Bible, but you know, we're using a lot of different I use a lot of different input of understanding. Whoa, luckily I drank all the water. To understand the effect of elements and lighting and movement and how the energy is flowing in a space. And my consultations include looking at emotional or significant life events, which could be, you know, trapped or stagnant within a home, and looking at how to help people be ready for relationships and heal from past relationships. So making spaces work for multiple people, or to be inviting, to extend a personal space into something that can be more social or shared, and still maintain privacy and, you know, interest. And it's not making everything really cookie cutter or overly modern, but I like to use raw materials, natural materials, found materials. It doesn't all have to be super, super perfect. It can be a bit, you know, raw and creative, while also being, you know, up to the standard of an interior designer, which is... But anyway, the point is that I'm very flexible with that. So if you'd like to find me for any of those services, please contact me on sunbakerstudio.com.au, I believe is my website. I'm Natalie Moss. Natural Flow Alchemy is the sort of tarot and human design aspect of my Sunbaker Studios umbrella, I guess. And the interior design, holistic interior design, sits under Sunbaker Studios. Have a beautiful day. I hope this resonates. Please let me know how you go in the comments, and speak soon. Bye, lovers.